Dr. Willis, we do not have audio on you.
Okay. How about unmuted? Does that sound better?
That does, yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Pam. I appreciate the introduction. I'm excited to also be here and to be able to talk about Active Classroom and what people need to know to get started for the 2018-19 school year. This is going to be a very quick overview. I'm going to go through a lot of features, but we'll have time at the end for questions, and I will certainly leave you off and make sure you know where to go to find more information once you have questions. So I'm going to turn off my video so that we can focus on the screens themselves, but I'll come back at the end and we can go from there. So Active Classroom is a collection of over 4,000 different resources across a variety of media, including primary source activities, decision-making activities, simulations, video clips, audio clips, really a range of different resources which meets the needs of both teachers and students for differentiation. When I mean differentiation, I mean that teachers teach in different ways and may want to use different resources at different times. Active Classrooms puts all of those activities and resources at their fingertips. For students that are reading at different levels, maybe from their peers in their class, or that are maybe more visually oriented and maybe English as a second language, or there are other challenges, maybe they need translations or dictionary lookups of words, the digital platform offers a number of resources to be able to help differentiate instruction for those students. Well, let's go ahead and dig in and take a quick tour so we get an idea of where to start and where you can go to really get going with Active Classroom. Once I log in, I see my main interface here, and I think we should start by going to Manage Students to take a quick look at what might be done there. Here's the place where you can create student classes. You can do a new student class and put the class name in here, and then even add existing students. So say I want to add period 1, put that in, add, and I want to register new students, and I can actually put in the name of each student, but the convenient thing to do is really, if you are not being rostered, and I'll explain rostering in a minute, is to take this link and send that to all your students. Once you've created the student class, this will allow them to register into your classes, and it'll give them a pull-down menu, period 1, period 2, period 3, whatever classes you've created, and the students will be able to pick which of your classes to put themselves into. So that's pretty much the easiest way to get started, by creating a new class and then being able to save that. And so now period 1 is saved and will appear here as we add students to that. If I go back to my list of classes, here's my new period 1 class. To go into a class that I've already created, I can go in here and I can edit it, and that allows me to see all of the students that are in there and to remove them or to manage them. If I actually want to manage the students in my classes, better yet, I can go in here and I can use the edit feature. This is where you can change passwords for students or change them if they registered into period 1 and they're really in period 2. You'll be able to make those changes here in the edit interface. Now, many of our districts are being rostered. That means that we get the information directly from your student information system. If that is true for your district, you do not ever need to add students. You do not ever need to change student passwords. Students will log in with their existing district logins and passwords. It should be a single sign-on process, and they will also be automatically populated, so your classes should look here as the same as they would in your student information system. So we give you both the opportunity to create your own classes, to add students to those classes, to edit those students, but if you're being rostered, all that is taken care of for you. Okay, that's the main ideas behind the managing students. Let's go in and look at another area. If we go back to our main interface here, some of you will have curriculum maps. Curriculum maps are where we've actually looked at the scope and sequence from your district, correlated that with your state content standards and information processing standards, and created specific maps where we selected activities for you. So I think I'm in here in a Colorado license right now. Grade 6 will look something like this. They begin with geography of the Western Hemisphere. I click on this to open it up. I see exactly which standards I'm going to be hitting. And then when I go to view, I'll find an activity set. An activity set is a subset of resources that we've hand selected for you. So in order to meet these specific standards and to match the scope and sequence from your particular district, we found these activities here. We can go through, we can look at them if we want to find out more about one of these activities. We can get some background information, and we can even click on the view button and go into view that activity and get an idea whether this is the type of activity that I'd want to assign to my students. Okay, I see a question there that came up. Let's see. Can individual teachers give you individual scope and sequences? No, usually that's something that's done at the district level, though you can talk to your sales rep about doing something that's more personalized. Because this is a digital platform, anything is possible, but the scope and sequence usually is done at the district level. Thank you for that question. So here we're now looking at a sample activity, and we're able to go in and assess whether we want to use that. Let's go back to our curriculum map here. So the curriculum maps are designed to match the scope and sequence. It's designed to allow you to have a sort of a subset rather than going through and searching for the range of resources that you might need. But I want you to be empowered to be able to search for the resources that you need. So I want to take you next to our activities search page. I'm going to go to here, our little hot dog menu on the left-hand side, and I'm going to go to the activities area. This is where we can search for different activities, find a variety of resources, and be able to sort them in any number of ways. So if I go in here and say I'm going to reset it by clicking on the reset button here, say I'm looking for something on the Renaissance. I type in that keyword, it runs a search in our database. There's about 20 results per page, and I have 4 pages that came up. So but somewhere between 60 and 80 lessons having to do with the Renaissance. Now I just used the keyword Renaissance, so that also could include Harlem Renaissance, and you might find some of those in here as well. So you need to go through and sort them and find exactly which ones you might want to be able to go into. Now let's see, I just had a good one here that I was looking at a moment ago. And it was a nice visual. Well, let me say that I can sort this in a number of ways. So we've got more than 60 results here. I can go to my advanced search now, and I can narrow in on an activity type. I wonder if there's any decision-making activities for me to use with the Renaissance. And indeed, there's this one on Renaissance Florence. I wonder if there's any image analysis activities. How can you study the Renaissance without doing image analysis? And I go through, and now I find a number of different resources. Look at all of these different resources, close to 20 that focus on analyzing primary sources. Let's take a look at this one called Primary Source Activities, Raphael's The School of Athens. Always one of my favorite images from the Renaissance. I see here a short description of the activity, grade level range, group size. Will students do this as groups or on their own? And what skills am I going to be developing? In this case, both primary source analysis and critical thinking skills. I come into the School of Athens activity. There's a brief background information here. Then I have the image, this Raphael image. I can turn on my magnifying glass and go through and gather evidence from this primary source by zooming in. And I can even zoom in on my zoom in. And here we have at the center of the stage Plato and Aristotle. Plato with his hand towards the sky, Aristotle with his hand towards the ground. Plato interested in ideal types and forms, Aristotle being much more focused on the practical aspects of life. We can go to a full screen analysis and escape out of that. We can also divide the image into quadrants and be able to analyze what's going on just in this one quadrant over here, one quadrant at a time. The discussion questions are down below, and I'm in a teacher mode now, so I'm seeing the answers come to me in the green writing here, but the students would see little boxes for them to fill in to be able to submit their responses online. So here's a great way. This is just a really simple primary source activity with just a very little bit of reading for the students, some great visuals for them to explore, and then a few questions to guide them through. If I decide that I like this activity, I may want to assign it. I can assign it by clicking on the little person icon over here and going in, and then I can select the selection that I want, set a due date and an unlock date. If it's going to involve some sort of reading analysis, I can also create custom highlights. So here, if we wanted students to annotate a reading, it'll come with these basic terms. But say I wanted to do something for vocabulary that I didn't understand. This would be from the students. And we pick a color for that. I'm going to do this in a red color and add the highlight and delete some of these others here. So now I'm just going to have 3 highlights in this activity, highlighters that my students can use, main idea, supporting evidence, or vocab that I don't know. I can click done and add that. Add my student instructions here. And then I select my class. I'm going to assign this to all of my 5th grade. And I'm also going to include these 2 students. So you can assign to students or entire classes or even groups. And here I've got, maybe I want to add something, my literary luminaries as well. So it gives you a lot of options about who you can assign it to. You save the assignment. And then if you're working in another learning management system like Google Classroom or Schoology or Canvas or Blackboard, you can click on this link and put that into your other learning management system. It'll provide a direct link back to this assignment for your students in Active Classroom. So that gives us a quick idea about what it might be like to search for an activity, to refine our search. Remember, we had search for the Renaissance, and then we narrowed that down just to image analysis activities. We see that here and here, and we came up with these number of different activities. Now, if I go in and I search for a reading, it also includes Lexile Levels. And if I click on my little Lexile Level indicator here, it'll show me all the readings that are available to me and now in ascending order. So it's going to show me some readings on the Renaissance in Europe, beginning at about a 4th, 5th grade reading level down here, 750, and going all the way up through, let's see how far we can go here, 1040 up to 1250. So to like a 12th grade reading level. So you've got a range of texts in here on the Renaissance in Europe, ranging from 5th grade all the way up to 12th grade. And you can assign some to some students and others to other students. We give you that flexibility to really be able to differentiate your instruction. Now, another thing that you may want to do when you're searching for activities is to highlight them so you can come back to them later. So we've got a little favorite activity area here, and all you need to do is click on the star for the ones that you want to favorite and come back to later. I've highlighted these 3. If I go into my advanced search and say show only favorites, it'll show me just my favorites, and the Renaissance as a keyword and the readings is still part of that search. If I take this out and go wider, maybe I have other favorites that aren't just readings. Yes, it included backward planning PowerPoint and a DBQ writing program. This one is on the 1920s, so it must be about the Harlem Renaissance. So not exactly what I want, and I'm not going to assign that to this class today, but that does give me one way to be able to save resources. Also, I can use the activity set builder. Pops out here the little file on the side, put in Renaissance, and then I can drag and drop the different resources that I want to, and come back to them later. So this is a way to create sort of a mini unit on the Renaissance where I've included both a critical thinking activity as well as 2 different readings. And under my options here, I can even share this activity set with my colleagues. So it gives you an opportunity for collaboration. That's really, really nice. Okay. Let's go back up here and take a look at assignments and grades. If I go into my assignments and grades section, it'll show me this one that I just assigned on Raphael's The School of Athens, as well as other recent assignments that I've made. And I can filter those at any time by a particular class or group. So if I want to find out, hey, what have I assigned to my 5th grade students, and hit search, it's going to bring up just these 2 activities. So there's ways to filter that. So if you just wanted to see, oh, what did I do for period 1 or period 2, it gives you an opportunity to manage those independently. Launching allows you to see it, grading allows you to grade it, and editing is where you can actually go in, maybe change the color of the highlighters that you created. We've got these specialty ones here. I forgot, I wanted to add one for pictures that I really like, and I'm going to do a highlight for that. Maybe you wanted to create that, or maybe you wanted to change, you didn't put in a due date, and now you decided that you want to have this due date that will be sometime in the future. So we're going to make that for this Saturday. We save the assignment, and that's now been modified. So going into the Manage Assignments area is a good way to modify that. Okay, let me try. I'm going to switch now into a student account to show you what it might look like from the student's point of view. And here's a lesson that I just assigned. You can see the student point of view is more minimal. They don't have the choices about searching for activities. They've got basically assignments and grades and discussions. Discussions are areas where they can do online threaded discussions. And the latest activity that they've been assigned will rise here to the top of their recent activity. Now, I guess I didn't include student 1 in my 5th grade class, but here's something I assigned to him the other day. So let's go in and take a look at this one. My instructions come up here on the top, so we can take a look at that. That's where you highlighted the instructions when we went in. And then we can go in here and we can look at this area. And here's a short reading with some quick assessment questions. Now, as a student, I've got a few other buttons over here. If I want to read the instructions, I click on this one right here. If for some reason I need to attach a file, maybe you asked me to create a travel brochure to the Renaissance Florence, and that's part of my performance-based assessment, I can attach the files and upload them here. But I can also highlight. Remember, I said there might be words that I don't know. So say I don't know this word, and I go up to my oh, this one doesn't have that, but it has, let me just highlight this one, and I can make a note here. So the students can put their edit in there. Other things that students can do, they can launch the speech to text feature here, and that allows them to translate words. Here's a word like government. Now let me highlight the whole thing. And it can even read me the dictionary definition.
The body of people that governs a country. I wonder what the new government will be.
So that's always a good question. Then you can take things and you can do translation. So if I highlight democracy here and go to my world, it'll translate it, and it translates it into Spanish for me, which is my default language. If I need to change the languages I want to translate it into, I click on the little gear here, and I can translate it into Arabic, Portuguese, Vietnamese. We have a range of different languages, and if we don't have the language that you need, just let us know, and we can probably add it for you. So a lot of extra functionality that's there for the students. They go through, and we can, oh, looks like we've turned in this one already. So that's what, when the students are done, they'll go here to turn in the assignment. And then it gives us a timestamp on when we've turned in our assignment. Now I'm back in my teacher account and I see that student 1 has completed my assignment. I can click on this link to go and grade that assignment, or I can go back to my assignments and grades area. Here in your assignments and grades area, you can manage your assignments. Here's the one that we were just looking at. And we can go in here and assess the student work. So in this case, the student didn't really turn it in, but had they done so, it would have been auto-graded, and we would have, say, gotten all 3 of these right, and we can see that we've scored a value 4 out of 4. The value is something you can change for all students. So if you think this was a particularly hard question, and that'll change the value of that question, and it's going to automatically change the total, and it's going to auto-score that for you. The things that you will need to score are going to be short answer questions that appear, and then you'll have to go in. You can also assign partial credit or no credit for answers. And you can change the way you grade. Here it gave me 4 out of 5. If I want to turn that into an A-, for example, that's all I need to do is change it into an A-. And when I go to my grade book, and let's see, this is for Regina. So I go to my grade book. Here's Regina Africa, Power Basics, and she sees an A-. In order for her to actually see her grade, we need to publish the grades. And the reason we give you control over this is because if you, the students will see the correct answers and the incorrect answers once you publish the grades. So if you have students that haven't completed that assignment yet, you may want to hold off. But once we publish the grades, the students can look at it. Another feature that people use in this area quite a bit is allow another attempt. This gives the students, they maybe submitted something by accident. You use allow another attempt, and we'll go in here. In this case, it should have Regina in here and should allow us to extend that. I'm not sure why that's not coming up right now, but that gives you an idea. So allowing another attempt for students is going to happen here. We're in the grade book section of the assignments and grades. Unpublish the grades would mean that students can't see their grades in the answers. Okay, so those are 2 important features there. The last thing I wanted to show you today, and this is really important, is that you can get to the help page anywhere you are, and that's by going here to help. And one of the things you'll find here is an extensive user's guide. It's only a 40-page PDF, so it's not very long, but it is detailed, and it will give you an idea about being able to cover any of the things that we're going over here today. So if you didn't remember what I said about creating assignments or modifying an assignment, this gives you a step-by-step introduction. Give it a title, add your instructions, specify an unlock and a due date, decide which ones you'd like to be, how you'd like to grade it, customize the highlight colors for student annotations if you wish, number 5 right here. So really an easy to use guide, only 40 pages, great resource for any question that you have that's going to come up. There's also a guide for students. So the students have access to this on the help page of their student account, and things like how do I find my assignment, annotate an activity, save my answers, upload a file, view my grades, only 10 pages. So not a lot for the students to digest, but all the basic information to help get them going and be successful. In addition, we have these very short little video tutorials. So I want to go in and I want to see what Aaron showed me about allowing another attempt, and I can watch this, and it's going to give me a 60-second.
When you allow another attempt, you can select the classes, students, or groups you would like to give another attempt.
Okay, and that walks me through, and we can see in a very visual manner how to access all those resources. For those of you that are using other learning management systems like Canvas, It's Learning, or Schoology, there's instructions here on how to integrate those links from Active Classroom back into those learning management systems. And then I really think that this last area is very important. a complete listing of all the series that are in Active Classroom. So you can see acting history plays, African American heroes of the Civil War. It's a great place to browse through just to get an idea of all the different types of resources that are going to be available to you in Active Classroom. So the help page is really an invaluable place to go. If you do have additional questions or you're trying to solve a problem, maybe you made an assignment and not all the students are seeing that assignment. Some are seeing it, some aren't. You can come here to the Contact Us. This is a solution tree. So the first place you go is, oh yeah, I'm having an assignment issue. And then what's my problem? None of my students know. It's just that some of my students are not getting their assignments. I select that. It gives you a possible range of ideas on how you could solve it and what might have gone wrong. If that works, great. Say yes, thank you. If not, click no, and it opens up an email window to submit this form. Do us a favor, give us as much information about what assignment you were working on and maybe some sample students to include that in. If you have a screen capture or there's something else that you found that's funny that you want to include, the more information you can give us before you hit submit, the quicker and more efficiently we'll be able to help you solve your problems. But it's a great place to start here because we've realized that there are a lot of common problems that you can probably solve for yourself. Well, that pretty much covers my overview of Active Classroom today. This is a really quick getting started introduction, but I would encourage you to log in on our help page. There's also a self-paced learning courses, AC 101 and 102, and these will take you through practicing with this basic functionality to get you up and running with Active Classroom. That said, I'm going to go back here to the beginning and I'll open it up to any questions. Please just type any questions into the chat area and we'll take them up as they come in.
Well, thank you, Dr. Willis. While we're waiting on some questions to come in, showing them where to find that professional learning Active Classroom 101 and 102 is very helpful. Could you also go over to the professional learning icon and show them where they could find upcoming webinars?
Great. So thank you, Pam. Here's the link to under professional learning that should take us, and we've got upcoming webinars that'll be listed there throughout the year, as well as blog entries on related topics. So if we come in here to the Learning Corner, there's going to be blogs that are posted over the course of the semester, and you can see some very helpful things here. Novels to read with middle school students, civics beyond the classroom, essential questions to focus instruction in social studies. So these blogs should all be helpful to you. And then on our webinars page, right now we just have today's webinar, but in the next week we'll be adding all the other webinars for the rest of the fall semester. So this would be the place to come to see what else is coming up. We've got some great new webinars coming up. They're going to focus on literacy skills, differentiated instruction, and a range of other resources that you can really use Active Classroom to develop your student skills.
Thank you so much. It doesn't appear we have any questions yet. Oh, whoop, there we go.
Are there a lot of CCSS, Common Core Social Studies, for each assignment, or are they limited to certain assignments? So to the extent that you're looking for Common Core activities, we have some where that's explicitly stated in the title. We have a series called Common Core Assessments, as well as some other Common Core resources. But you can also, let me go to our activities area here to show you. You can also search by standards, and you can select Common Core standards as a way to search. So here I'm in Colorado right now in terms of my license, and I want to look at the Colorado standards, and so here's something that's going to be applicable to everybody. Site-specific textual evidence and support analysis of primary and secondary sources, and now it's going to select for me the range of different resources down here that meet that particular standard. You can see there's quite a few, so I probably want to narrow that down. Once again, I'm just looking at the Renaissance, for example. So now I want to know, well, which which resources on the Renaissance in particular will meet that standard of citing evidence. So that is one way to find those resources, and that really narrowed it down quite a bit. Another way is to go in and to look for specific resources by going, let me reset this, and going to a specific series title like Applying Common Core or the Common Core Assessments in History. Randall, did that answer your question? Awesome. Anything else we can show you today? Or any other questions? Pam, I showed professional learning. Was there anything else important that I missed that you'd like me to bring up?
No, I think you've hit everything really well, and just pointing them to our help page. There's so many different ways for our customers to get help that that help page is like a gold mine of activities there where they can reach out to us. I think everything looks really nice, and if anybody has any more questions, I know you'll be happy to take those.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. We can also, please don't be shy. Use this contact us form to send us emails whenever any question that you might have, you're looking for a particular resource or you need to meet a particular standard, whatever it might be, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you.
Thanks, Dr. Willis. Thank you all who were able to participate tonight. We look forward to seeing you again. Be on the watch for additional upcoming webinars. We hope to see you very soon. Good night.
Good night.